The Brewers, to me, go out and make a stunning move. I say stunning when they make this move. We'll talk about that coming up next as the Brewers have themselves a power-hitting, bona fide first baseman for the heart of the order. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, just when we were about ready to go to bed last night, it's a Tuesday night here in Wisconsin. Not much going on. Just got back from a basketball game. And like I've always said, you never know when Brewers news is going to drop in the offseason. Could it come at Christmas, like the Jeff Suppan deal many years ago? You just never know. But here it is. It was a Tuesday night, late Tuesday night. I hope you all caught my short instant reaction. But Rhys Hoskins now agreeing to a deal with the Milwaukee Brewers. Not official. The Brewers haven't announced anything. 2 years, $34 million. Jeff Passan reported it first, and a few other people followed along the way. So, stunning. Stunning in many ways. We'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. We'll also talk about Willy Adames appears to be staying in Milwaukee. That's not a bad thing. I'll take that. And Ryan Braun, honored by the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll talk about all that coming up here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. Yeah, here in the offseason, and my name is Chuck Freeman, longtime sportscaster here in Wisconsin. Proud host of Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. And, of course, you get us on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads. Thank you, everybody who downloads us and follows us along here in the off season. I know you got other things going on here in the winter months, and there's maybe other sports that might get your attention. But the Brewers deserve our attention, too, because the Brewers I feel like now are doing some things, hopefully, that are going to put us right back in contention for the NL Central Division title. Also, you get our show on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Yeah. And I say this has been a boring offseason for the Milwaukee Brewers. Uneventful, lack of spark. There hasn't been a whole heck of a lot to talk about. There's a lot of teams out there in that boat. There's a lot of free agents still alive. And maybe this is going to be the start of things heating up. And, here with the Milwaukee Brewers or our sports teams, we'll talk about the Brewers in particular. We always say, God, we'd love to have Pete Alonso. We'd love to have this guy. We have to love this. We talk about, like we've been talking about Rhys Hoskins coming to first base, coming to the Brewers to play first base. But did honestly anybody of us ever really believe it? As Brewer fans, we always like to dream big and think, oh, yeah, God, it would be great if the Brewers signed Rhys Hoskins. And I didn't put much stock into it and throw Joey Votto's name out there and who's going to fill the first base void. Never did I think this was going to be realistic because of the Brewers' track record. And, yeah, Mark Attanasio, hard to believe, but this is the way he is. This is the way baseball is. With them about to give Rhys Hoskins, a 2-year, $34 million deal, $17 million per, makes him the highest free agent the Brewers have ever signed. Can you believe that? The highest free agent the Brewers at $17 million. Rhys Hoskins becomes the highest paid free agent, other than somebody from their own, re-signing one of their own guys. Rhys Hoskins becomes the first player in the market to make that kind of dough from the Milwaukee Brewers. It's a sad case with baseball. People want to blame Mark Attanasio. But the bottom line is the Brewers made this move. They needed a first baseman. They were going nowhere fast at first base right now. I don't know if they tried to make some trades or whatever, or do whatever, but Jake Bauers was not feeling it for me. And I don't think any of you out there. And anytime we brought on guests and all that, Hoskins always got a name mention. But did we ever really take it seriously? No, we never took it seriously because we never really thought it was going to happen. Now we like to think, oh, this guy, well, he'd be a great piece here. And then there he goes, signs with the Cubs. And the Cubs were interested, but the Brewers pull the strings. Rhys Hoskins here, 2 years, $34 million. And don't worry about the opt-out year. I don't even care about that right now. Don't care. Don't care at all that he's got an opt-out year. That doesn't bother me at all. Opt-out year, who cares? I care about 2024. We'll worry about 2025 and 2025. I feel like too often with our sports teams, the Brewers, we always look ahead. I'm thinking right now, I am Mr. Right Now, and Rhys Hoskins is a terrific answer for first base. And I want to hear, he's coming off knee surgery. He missed all of last year. He's in the prime of his career. Coming off an ACL tear this isn't 1977. Okay. This isn't 1987. So the Brewers, I'm sure, going to do their due diligence on that knee before all the T's are crossed. And Rhys Hoskins, no doubt in my mind. Now, what does he bring to the table? Well, he brings a lot of things to the table. Power is one. A right-handed power hitter in this lineup who hits lefties like he should. But he's a guy who's a guy you could stick every day in the middle of that order. And yeah, he's not great defensively, but I don't care. I don't want to hear about analytical numbers. The eye test, the Brewers eye test, the Freeman eye test says Rhys Hoskins is a great fit. Now, I might be wrong about this. And certainly when the Brewers do anything, as I've always said, you always got to hold your breath. Oh boy, how's this going to work? We just have to. We're trained to do that as Brewers fans. But I'm jumping in the pool and I'm all in on this. I love it. Man, gives us a little jolt of excitement going into spring training, and hopefully they're not done. But Rhys Hoskins, not great defensively, but I can live with that. The guy's going to hit me 30, 35 home runs and play me a little first base and DH. The important thing is this guy's going to be in the heart of the order every day, whether he's DHing or at first base. He's going to be at the heart of that order. So I'm okay. I got people texting me right now about Rhys Hoskins. Doesn't have to play me every day first base. As long as we get that bat in the order. And yeah, we're looking for a first baseman, but he'll play some first base. When he's not playing first base, big boy, you're getting your 4 at-bats, 5 hopefully, in the batting cleanup in that DH role. How can you not be excited? I know there's some naysayers out there. I saw you on Twitter. I saw one guy say, well, he'll be dealt to the Cubs by the All-Star break because we won't be in the pennant race. Oh, come on. If the Brewers are going to keep up with the Joneses, this is the kind of move they had to make. And yeah, I'm a little surprised Mark Attanasio shelled out that money, but he's got some money to burn on this situation. That is a great deal. Getting a guy for the heart of your order who can hit you 30, 35 home runs, drive in the runs he's going to do. Okay. He's averaged 27 in his career. 2022, his last full year. And he got injured in spring training. The ACL, missed all of last season. But in 2022, his last full season at 30 home runs. What's he going to do at AmFam Field? Okay. God, that's awesome. I don't think we had a legitimate power. We know we didn't have a legitimate power stroke. Sure, Willy Adames hit his home runs last year, but you needed more. You needed offense on this team, and you went and did it. I was just waiting for Hoskins, to be honest with you, to sign with one of the big boys. I thought he'd go to the Cubs. I certainly thought that was going to be the answer. But the Brewers beat the Cubs to it and got Hoskins. Not only did you make your team better, but you kept them away from the Cubs. I think Rosiak pointed that out on his piece this morning in the paper, which is accurate. Homegrown with the Phillies. Wow. I am so pumped up about this move. We'll continue on. We'll talk more about this. Willy Adames staying with the Milwaukee Brewers. That's according to some reports out there. Ryan Braun also honored. We'll get to that as well coming up here on the show, and get your comments as well, talking about the big move that the Brewers made. Again, it's not official. It's not official by any means. But sounds like it's, barring anything disastrous, it's going to happen with the Milwaukee Brewers. And I'm telling you what, if you want to get into the game, FanDuel is the way to go. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Hey, you got the AFC, NFC championship games coming up on Sunday, the two big ones. Got all day college basketball on weekends, during the week, NBA. Get into it with FanDuel, America's #1 sports. But right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. How about that? $150 in bonus bets. $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, with America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. Parlays, live plays. You can bet on the Australian Open if you want. Props, over and unders, whatever you want. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. Best way to find popular parlays, go right there. Find bets in the new Explorer tab. They got it all. They got so many varieties. They're great. They got things to check it out. Go check them out right now. FanDuel, not now, after the pod. FanDuel.com/lockedon, LOCKEDON, and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel. FanDuel's the way to go. Winter months, we're locked in here in Wisconsin. Join America's #1 sports book, the official partner of the NFL. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. We're coming right back after this. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman here, your host here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Good to always have you along here. Again, you get us on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads, and we're just everywhere. You go to Google, Spotify, Apple, and you can go to YouTube as well. Go to Locked On Brewers, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell there. It's going to alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. It's easy to go, and we're here with you all winter long. And especially when news drops like late last night, I'm at the Locked On Brewers anchor desk doing some work around here, and you can see this is the Brewers Locked On Brewers anchor desk. You see what you see above here? You see the history of the Milwaukee Brewers. Hopefully, we're going to add to that with the addition of Rhys Hoskins and maybe a couple more pieces along the way. So we are your team every day. Follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. I guess I'm looking at Twitter and I see most of the news positive regarding this. And I put that out. I put this, my little instant reaction, which anytime, again, when the Brewers have breaking news, you're going to get some instant reaction from me. I mean, I'm looking, and Eric says, even better, he hits left-handed pitching very well. A doubles machine. A great signing by the Brewers. Combine this with reports that the Brewers are planning to keep Adames. We finally have the direction to where this club needs to go. And it's potentially a last dance type season. Well, I don't know if we've had a first dance. Have we had a first? Well, we haven't had a first dance. That first dance was 1982. So, we haven't done anything quite like the Bulls have done with all their dances. But let's get a first dance going with these guys. Somebody mentioned to me, will the Brewers be in a rebuild? That remains to be seen. Mark Attanasio doesn't want to go through it. Brewer fans don't want to go through it. And I said this to the guys from Locked On Reds the other day. Rebuild. We're rebuilding from what? We haven't won anything. Winning a division title and rebuilding from a division title, that's not good enough. I see rebuilding when you go on a sustained run of deep playoff runs. We haven't done that. Haven't had playoff win in a while. So we're not rebuilding. If that's the best we can do, just a division title, and we're building from that, no, we got a lot of work to do. Need to build on that. That's what I say. Not rebuild, but build. Build on winning that division championship. And how about winning a playoff series or two? Rhys Hoskins, homegrown talent, 5th-round pick of the Phillies. He's beloved in Philadelphia. Fans love him in Philadelphia. They do. Plays hard. And we haven't had a first baseman like this, quite honestly, since Prince. There's a few of the guys we loved along the way. I liked Eric Thames, but he was here short term. I liked Thamesy. I did. And he had some big at-bats for this team as well. Major League Baseball kept going after him and having to check him with the PEDs. And I remember that. Remember, he'd always come sauntering over to his locker after having to take a test. What was that, 2017? But I liked Thamesy. And he was never found guilty. I don't know what Major League Baseball was doing there with Thamesy, but I like Thamesy, but we need to do better. Okay. Needed to do better than the guys we've had since then. Okay. You look at all these first basemen, and I think they have. If this fails, if Rhys Hoskins fails, and I don't know why it would. The guy's got a track history of greatness. Okay. He does. Oh, greatness may be a little overstated, but very, very, very good. Averaging 27 home runs a year. I'll take that. I'll take that on a home run friendly park like AmFam Field. But they better not be done. The Brewers better not be done at this. They better not be done. Still more work to do for the Milwaukee Brewers. But most of you guys on social media, as I checked my Twitter account, Dr. Granajan says, good move by Mark A. Mississippi Brewer fan, thank you for the compliment. I knew when I saw this you were going to say something on X. Love your show, Chuck. Thank you. Bill Jacobson says NL Division champs. Great. But this can't be the last move. But right before this news broke, there was, a few hours before, the news came out that the Brewers reportedly are not going to trade Willy Adames, and that teams have backed off asking the Brewers about that because they say Adames appears not to be on the market. I'm okay with that. Okay, if he walks as a free agent, let's keep him for a year. And if we're not in the pennant race, we could trade both of these guys. I'm fine with it. If the Brewers are not in the pennant race, God forbid this team fails and is out of the race and has a bad start and pulls the St. Louis Cardinals like the Cardinals did last year and gets off to a slow start. Oh, please, let's not let that happen. But if that does happen, hey, you can always trade Rhys Hoskins. Okay, you can always trade Willy Adames at the trading deadline. That's fine. That's fine. We're good with that. Good with that. But let's hope the Brewers are not in that position. But the reports are the Brewers are not interested in trading Willy Adames. Okay, so we have the shortstop who's going to hit us 20-something home runs. We got the first baseman who hit 30. And Willie's going to bounce back, I think, after that bad year. After the 217 year, too many strikeouts, too many fails. I don't see Willie having another bad year like this. I don't know what it was. I'll be interested when these guys report to camp to see who's in shape and who's not in shape and what were the reasons for the bad play last year. If someone had a down season, they usually reveal that early on in spring training. Well, this is what happened. I wasn't doing this and this and this. Excuses or not, we'll see what Willie has to say when he comes and reports to spring training here in a couple of weeks. That sounds great to see. A couple of weeks. So, yeah, Adames. So we got the third base. We don't have the third baseman. Well, that's next on our platter, right? If Willie's going to play third base or a shortstop, who is playing third? Well, maybe that's next. You didn't have to make a trade to get a first baseman. You went out and spent some money. So maybe you make a trade now to get a third baseman. Okay? I don't want to go into third. I do not want to go into the season with Andrew Monasterio. God bless him. He's a utility guy, and he had a terrific overachieving year last year. We need to do better at third base. Andrew Monasterio, please, let's not have him be our opening day third baseman. Need to do better than, I keep calling him R. The Brewers. I feel like there are sometimes because we all grew up with the team. They cannot go into opening day with Monasterio playing third base. Cannot happen. But I was so glad. And who knows, Willie still may get traded. I mean, just because the reports are out there right now say Willie's not going to be traded. Who knows? Who knows? But finally, something to feel good about with the Brewers, getting Rhys Hoskins and moving forward and having a big bat like that in the middle of our lineup. I'm telling you, it's been a while since I've been this excited about an offseason move. Sure, the Contreras move last year turned out to be great, but it wasn't one of those run to the ticket counter kind of moves. And not that this is, but it's better than most moves the Brewers have made in the offseason. This is not one of those Milwaukee Brewer reclamation projects. Yeah, he's coming off the injury, but certainly he's not one of these aging first baseman or third baseman that the Brewers are just hoping, and we've had those guys come through, hoping that they find the fountain of youth or find some success after many years of struggles. He's coming off the year, but he's in the prime of his career. Rhys Hoskins. If this fails, it fails. I don't see it doing it. I don't see it happening. Couple other notes. Aroldis Chapman. There was rumblings about Aroldis Chapman coming to the Brewers. Sounds like the Pirates on a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. Adding Aroldis Chapman to this bullpen. Wow. You would make a strength even stronger by doing that. When I saw that news, I was like, what are the Brewers thinking here? Is someone on the move by adding Aroldis Chapman on a 1-year deal? Were they thinking about moving Devin Williams? I don't know. But he signed with the Pirates. And, again, Chapman's going to be one of those guys who's going to be available. As soon as he signed, I heard, 1 year, $10 million with the Pirates. It's like, all right, he'll be on the trading block by July because the Pirates will be out of the race. He'll be dealt. What else? Gary Sheffield not in the Hall of Fame. I think Sheffield's reputation he's more talented than some of the guys who are going in or have gone in. He's got a lot of talent. He did. And some of these writers do not like him, and it shouldn't be that way, but that's just the way it is. It's not right. How about Josh Hader? We never touched about this. 5 years, $100 million with the Astros. I love Josh Hader. They grossly overpaid. I'm telling you, they probably had to give him 5 years, $100 million, but the Astros didn't want to go probably 5 years. They might regret that in the second year or maybe the third year. So if he's going to sign and fail with any teams, and I don't want to see Josh Hader fail, but I don't like the Astros because they're cheaters. Okay. If the Astros are going to get hung with a bad contract, it would be good to see, but I don't want to see, at the same token, I don't want to see Josh because I like Josh Hader, but I thought they overpaid for him. 5 years, $100 million. They'll be regretting that by 2026. Come right back. Quickly touch on Ryan Braun going into the Walk of Fame. That's next here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Before we say goodbye here, Ryan Braun, Walk of Fame, no-brainer, 14-year career with the Milwaukee Brewers, and I get it. Does Ryan Braun's name always not come with an asterisk? We're always going to talk with Ryan Braun in that way because of the PED scandal back in late 2011. Yes, I get it. When that news broke in December 2011, we were all disheartened and the way how it all played out. And Ryan Braun was never the same as a player, but still deserves to be in the Walk of Fame. Is he going into the Hall of Fame? No. Is he going to have a statue out front with Euchre and the rest of them, Yount, Molitor, Bud Selig? No, that's not happening. But he belongs in the Walk of Fame, certainly. Part of the soundtrack of Brewers baseball of us. Me going through my, let's see here, 30s. Ryan Braun, yes, very much part of it. So yes, many big at-bats for the Brewers, came through in the postseason, 296 career batting average, 352 home runs. I say that's Walk of Fame material. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. Ryan Braun belongs. There's going to be a ceremony coming up. They'll announce that. The Brewers will a little bit later on in the year when they'll have a ceremony and gets his due diligence because he's part of Milwaukee Brewers lore. Whether you like him or love him, I like him. Okay. I was disappointed, but I've gotten over it. And he still, did he outperform the contract that Mark Antanasio gave him? No, he didn't. But he still was a good player for the Milwaukee Brewers. Not as great as he was in the early part, Not the Hall of Fame career we thought he was going to have, but certainly deserving of the Walk of Fame. It's going to do it for me, Chuck Freeman. Again, follow us along Google, Spotify, Apple, all the major downloads. We're the number one Brewers podcast on the internet because of you Brewer fans out there, you great Brewer fans out there. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. As I've been telling you about, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Follow me on Twitter as well, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. I can't wait for the start of spring training. It's a few weeks away, and hopefully we'll have some more Brewers news along the way. That's going to do it. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. So long, everybody.